You know, it's not nice to make fun of that moment, but
we have to.
both look at the one where Theo Vishekar is just like, okay, so
we're getting dumpstered. What do we do?
Yeah, I know, man. What's going on? We're on the world stage. You can see those moments and many more at hirersexpo.com to get your tickets. Go ahead and sign up so you can be with us on November 16th through 18th of a really, really fun time ahead of you, I think, if you join us there. My name's Randy. This is Pretty Air. It's time to get into another match for Virtus Pro, this time against Mousesports. It didn't go the way they wanted. Turned out the Ruckus actually did play quite a bit of a role.
And I got to say, Phoenix did a good job bouncing back, because I think I was frustrated watching him get blown off the map time after time after time on Frog Eye, hooked off, and he still had good moments. They weren't entirely glamorous either. I thought, his Hexafires zoned out a lot of people as well, providing some peel. He found a way to be effective despite being constantly the target of the hyper beams and dredge anchors off the map.
So here's a big conversation piece, too, because that's Virtus Pro against Na'Vi, and maybe a litmus test of where they are, but no one's really passed that one. I mean, Na'Vi are undefeated for a reason here. It seems like they have just continued their momentum from land. But Brightmarsh here starting out for Mousesports. Can we see another side of where Virtus Pro aren't? Maybe a show of development if they can handle Mousesports in this set.
And, I mean, you look at the way they just got handled by Na'Vi on this map.
I know, man.
Bouncing back in some capacity, maybe they learned something. There's two ways you go after that. Either you come into the set warmed up. We talked about that maybe being a detriment for Mousesports if they're getting a hot VP, but they look a little deflated there. That was their map keep, and Gormizer brought it up as well that Stone Keep is not exactly a weak point for Na'Vi either, so there's that going for them as well. The big thing here is VP have to keep their head up going into this one and try and use this as a momentum builder rather than a deflator.
One of the things I look at, too, is how has VP and Mouse navigated this draft against one another? So far, the Khan first pick and then the Androxus prioritization seems like you do have to execute, but you have some decent pieces there. Against the Inara and the Furia, though, it's a lot of work to be done on that objective, and Androxus has to succeed. Most likely going to be on the hands of Alex, I would assume.
It's been a big pick for Na'Vi on this map as well. We actually get to see the Ruckus finally come through, and this was something I almost brought it up, is that we don't see Elvenpath do it a ton, so is he going to be on the Inara, or do you think it's going to be Sheepa on the Inara?
Yeah, this is Sheepa on the Ruckus, in my opinion, and because he's got the history playing it, and I would be surprised if Elvenpath was not comfortable playing the Inara. I think he would like that on Brightmarsh. He could still be very aggressive and be at the point when he needs to be. Against the Fernando and the Khan, and then the Talus to round things out, the Leon's going to have to keep that anti-heal up to keep the momentum in Virtus Pro's favor. New colors, and unfortunately, some new but not new enough results to where they're getting close, but not beating the top dogs. Not beating the top dogs, but things could change here. They're definitely looking for a win in this set.
The Talus Andro with no Torvald, they do have the Khan, so I'm looking for them to play off that pretty effectively, and I feel like that sort of combination has honestly fallen off a little bit. People, I feel like, don't rely on firing line as much as they did, like right when Khan was coming out. I feel like it's more of just like this almost solo play where the Khan is really just sort of looking after himself with his own damage and healing.
I mean, it's decent, right? It's burst, but it's in a different way. Khan's shooting you for one amount of damage, and all of a sudden it's a lot more. You have to tell, but it's still different in terms of what you're expecting versus other moments, and it's a very, very valuable thing. CC immunity against any champion like an Inara. Disengage from Cassie. I mean, you see a Pyre Strike. There are a couple of reasons, since you're fighting so close, that I could see why it has that value as well. B's rotating with Alex.
And already, dude, Runa travel out, then the battle shout comes through. Like, that's already not a good sign.
Yeah.
That is already a little bit disjointed. Mousesports have it's a good comp. I think it is actually very cohesive and could work well together, but they need to work well together. Really, that's I think what it comes down to, and they have to do it quickly here. I mean, 75-0 on the objective.
Oh, but he gets the kill he wanted. If he finds two, that's big. Bruno pushing him back. He's got access to the back line, but man, had to reload at the worst time, didn't he? And Andrew Dudo just gets one, can't find two, but he was very close to getting three, and it is Virtus Pro who walked this one pretty safely into a early game lead, 1-0 against Mousesports.
And you see the moments. It was close there for Mousesports. Close, just a little bit too little, too late. There is something there with this composition. VP. That's what their composition does, though. If Mousesports cannot hit the gas, then VP wins automatically by just having the Inara and the Solar Blessing and just sitting on the objective doing nothing.
Absolutely. That's why I mentioned it when I looked at it. It was a very high execution draft because of the Androxus. And, you know, Androxus in a casual game, you know you're going to execute if you're a decent player, because chances are people will not have the skills to accurately deal with you 9 times out of 10. You're going to win that battle if you're skilled enough. But against these guys, it is not as easy as walking into the back line and hitting a few shots. You have to have some support. You have to make sure that they're not getting healed, and Surette seems to have a heal for anybody when they need it. Yingel just to push him back and stabilize what seemed to be Virtus Pro unrelenting there.
I mean, when you look at Andro in a pub game, it's basically like everyone just has duct tape on their mouth and they can't call for help.
That's right.
And then in pro play, there is no duct tape, and they can scream and cry and kick and get all their teammates to come collapse on you. And that's the difference.
It's a big deal, too.
It is a huge part of it.
We'll play test sometimes, and I mean, I get so annoyed. I'm playing Androxus trying to frag all of our developers, and then Garrett's like, Andrew in the back, he's coming, and then like,
shut up,
shut up, dude, this is a play test. And, you know, you can see the difference it makes, though, and that's the risk you take with flanks. Right now, Mousesports hasn't quite paid off. Surette's finding Cephid Cloud there. That's a front line down. 40 seconds for the push to continue.
Talking a lot about Andro, too. I think Talus is a pretty high execution champion as well.
He is.
You got to get it done when the Rune of Travel is down. You got to get it done pretty much during overcharge. Talus isn't that scary when he's not steroided up.
And the reason I say he's high execution is not for the same reason Androxus is, because actually hitting your shots and hitting headshots, that's more of the difficult part with Andro. I think positioning and timing is more of the difficult part with Talus, because this is kind of easy hitting those shots, but it's when do you Rune of Travel, when do you blitz upper, how do you use that? And right now, obviously, all the wrong choices being made, or all the right ones here for Perdot, who finds himself with 2. Could it be 3? It seems like the presence will hit, but VP will still have the presence on the objective, 2-0 over Mousesports.
Finnish veterans filling up the kill feed as well. Perdot and Sheepa having a good couple of games. Liking what I'm seeing, though, from VP. I'd like to see the adjustments, though, for Mousesports. Again, I really think there is something there with this comp. I think it's going to be hard to pull off. I think they started with the right idea, but again, we saw the silhouettes of the missed battle shout while the Rune of Travel was happening. That stuff, that needs to preempt like that blitz upper and then the gas pedal by Alex, and that's stuff that will hopefully be ironed out over time, but it is week 3.
It does, to me, though, seem like that could be miscommunication or just the lack of confidence, because you do have to preempt it. That's one way you're going to get out, but it's also you using your defensive tool to be aggressive. And maybe Mousesports and NTBs show more about they're not willing to take a risk and push Perdot in round 1 or push that right side round 1. They want to see what's up, and now maybe we will see that happen again under the gun. And Alex dies, and it's the battle shot. It's not enough. Oh my God, Perdot is absolutely steamrolling here, and he's got the Enlightenment as well. Watch out, Cephid Cloud Shield comes up, goes down, and that's a full wipe like that.
The scariest part about that is that was a virtually cooldownless like push that happened. That was without Inflame. Inflame came after those 2 kills. No ultimates used offensively from Perdot or from Sheepa. Those 2 are working really, really well today.
And I don't know if we've seen these battle shouts be off. Have we seen Alex's positioning, timing been off? But it has just not worked at all. Enlightenment, you'd expect it soon. No, that target that had just used its shield essentially goes down anyways. Alex on the left-hand side finds Ninu. They're aware of him. One more shot will do. Perdot on a 10 streak. No one seems to be able to take him down. Finish. Excellence, Nick.
There it is. Looking determined today. 11 streak. And the biggest thing is VP undeterred. They are still feeling good about themselves after that defeat at Navi's hands in the earlier set. A couple of ultimates for Mousesports to try and bounce this one back. And despite getting slaughtered on this map, it seems like, you know, VP do know how to navigate it. I think it just speaks to how good Navi were here.
And it does seem like Mousesports are going to have to maybe take this one back to the drawing board. They've got literally only these 2 minutes to make their case. Otherwise, the unfortunate circumstance of it being shut down, closed for business, and having to wait another day
just the ping pong of Inara. He just gets brought and instantly just paddled back out onto the edge of the map. Poor girl. But again, so effective. I can't wait for that skin to be played in the PPL. A lot of those skins, honestly, were badass from the patch notes show.
I mean, amazing. 6 of them. And even the Talus one is really a lot of fun and a different look. Trick or Treat Talus. But if you missed it, definitely check it out. Dredge announced earlier today before the PPL, and maybe some of you are from that Patch Notes show joining us here. Still got a minute and 25 seconds, though. Virtus Pro trying to climb into the top ranks of Paladins, and on their journey have to go through what now is currently the bottom team as well. and make their stake for why they need to be above them. So far, so good.
Perdo's in a bit of a spot, though, trying to burn down Doodle out of the sky. Inflamed up, he'll get it done. Finds the shots even without the enlightenment. Trigger discipline is the theme of Perdo today. He's had a lot of juicy attempts or opportunities for enlightenment that he's just said, nah, don't
Can we
need
see
it.
the KDAs here if possible before this ends? We may not have time. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's really... There haven't been many moments of anything from Mousesports. I'm trying to say that, hey, you know, this is, you know, Virtus Pro are doing this or Mousesports aren't doing you know, the fights happen so early on the right side, we don't even see them. They're dead before we know it. The points never contested. It's literally 999. Nara's been there for the whole time. All you guys fighting, cool. Okay, 100, I'll take it. Let's start escorting. I mean, it's the fastest game you can get on Brightmarsh, essentially, but it's also just a really odd start to a set that should mean a lot for Mousesports.
Yeah, it feels like those like an arm wrestle that's like constantly like one person is clearly winning here.
Just it's gonna go down.
And not even like turbo stellar performances from anyone on Virtus Pro. I think Perdo's 9-1. Surrett's is honestly the biggest talking point for me at 5-0-17. He gets a lot done on Fury there, but like 5-3, it is what it is. 4-4. It's like not world domination here by Virtus Pro, where there's not any kills happening for Mouse.
I think that's one of the weirder games I've seen because I can't point to much on either side that makes me say, oh, that's the distinguishing factor. It just feels like Virtus Pro maybe playing in a different league here of caliber of team. Perdo certainly showed it. Did try to die. He only did it once, I believe, last game. 71,000 damage in about 7 minutes.
Was that a spray from Perdo?
It was. He's feeling himself.
Okay.
And why shouldn't you? Things starting to work out finally.
Yeah. It's been a long time for these guys. You know, the NIP PPL change. You know, it was good for them out of the gate, right? You know, NIP was very, very strong in the PPL through the very first split of the league. But at Worlds, that's where the downfall kind of started to happen. They didn't make the finals, and then Fnatic truly just surpassed them as a squad. And that was really the last time Perdo sort of tasted success, really, was at the start of the very inception of the PPL. So for him, it's kind of finally getting back to winning ways.
Well, we've seen the 3-0 for Navi on the Virtus
While still
Pro.
being 0-5, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, winning ways 0-5, it does not feel like an 0-5. I mean, you can't. Virtus Pro just do not have that title.
They have hope in their eyes, I think.
And they should.
They are hopeful.
Jaguar Falls here for map 2. Mousesports banning out the Frozen Guard. We're going to see how the draft changes is all. Nobody really got, I think, a horrible draft last game. Both had threats. The con prioritized died almost instantly every round, and that was only 2 rounds. Like, you really only had 2 shots at that.
Well, not a ton of frontline prioritization here. Mouse banning the Makoa and the Con. Andrew Willow's the selection for VP, meaning you know who is open and scooped. The only time he's been open all day.
Wow. Yeah, Europe really just seeing the number that he's done. And one of the ways against the Furia, the Inara, the Solar Blessing, all that stuff doesn't mean a thing if you just Dragon Punch Inara and she's dead, and you just 2-shot people with a combustible and a rocket following up. It's a very, very dominating thing that Drogos can do that almost no other champion can do. It's the delete button, and it could own the skies.
We'll see what Mouse are able to do. Inara, a very strong map for her in her own right, but Drogos does have that upper hand just a little bit. Tal's picked up again.
Yeah.
They're just feeling good about it. And they get the Torvald this time, which is definitely a boon. Torvald, I love the ultimate on the point fight on Jaguar Falls as well. It feels nearly like a guaranteed kill.
Now I wonder what they're trying to do here. I guess the Barrack, it does make sense. The deployable Nightmare and a Fernando on the side. So this could be good, I think, for Virtus Pro to be able to tackle what Mousesports have brought to the table. It is, hopefully, I think, an Inara that will be on the point. Torvald helping to rotate with Talus and Leon, but who's taking those roles? It didn't really work well for Bees to be on the Con with Alex, so maybe another person is rotating with Alex there on the Torvald, and Bees is back on the Stigala on the front.
I mean, it really was it was kind of a real severe lack of execution there for Mousesports. With that type of comp from VP especially, they're not moving around a ton. Like, Leon doesn't really get up in your face. Well, she did, but she doesn't typically. I think at the end of the day, when you've got a comp that sits on the point, sits in the back line as well, especially like how that first round went, you do have a lot of room to succeed. You have a lot of room to at least try to execute the strategy that you drafted, but we just never saw it, and that's what's concerning me a little bit about Mousesports. Is it just felt like they didn't even try after the first round to execute like their burst windows.
It was like a guy who basically just takes it lying down in terms of like a fight. Somebody comes over, pushes you, takes your food, takes your beer, wherever it is, and you just let it happen. You just walk away, you slowly like move, you're like, I'm not going to engage, but they just slowly get the better of you. Cloud though, turning things around here to start out. He finds the first kill onto the Fernando.
I actually like Torvald into Fernando, just if you can get around him or outplay the shield with the silence. It's a really, really big defensive cooldown that Fernando is absolutely relying on. So if you outplay it even slightly, Fernando gets put in a really, really rough spot very quickly. 66-0 though on the objective. VP finally pick up a kill there. Talus tried to weasel his way to the back line, but was unsuccessful.
And the way the Barrack is going to succeed is with the pressure, and Drogos is providing that pressure, and oh, it's a fusillade, essentially. 1,300 you would expect. Not from the combustible fire spit, though, just from these crazy rockets, man. When that spit hits, it's dangerous.
75 now, a great take back from Virtus Pro. And getting close to the first ultimate of the game, this fire spit might put the capstone on it, 97%, and there it is, just 2 minutes into the game, and no one could have seen this coming. You gotta land it, though. You have the advantage. You're gonna trade your life for it, but you dethrone the point king, and Nara is dead.
Yeah, and I think that gives you the best chance in this fight. I mean, Drogos could have maybe just tried to stay alive, just burst her down, but there was Torvald, there was Alex showing up. Mousesports going to take objective number 1. And, you know, it was a call. Maybe he doesn't make it next time. Obviously, this way did not work out, so anything is either going to tie it or be a little bit better. And now no Dragon Punch here, at least to start this defense for Virtus Pro.
2:15 on the clock to get it done. Mousesports come to life, and they get a lot of their own ultimates available. Just about 40 seconds after that Dragon Punch did. The Enlightenment was pretty much ready to go, but they didn't even need it. Nice little burst window there from Alex. He wants it all, though, and he's going to go home empty-handed.
Yeah, just a little sidestep from Elven Path. And he dies before he can even Rune of Travel back. That's a lot of burst. He's got to be careful. Even running Inner Strength with the damage reduction after the Rune of Travel. But I guess you got a Rune of Travel before you get the damage reduction. So that is where that plan did not work out. Maybe a little bit of a laugh. You think that is a sign of how he's actually feeling, Nick?
You know, I think he's just trying to open his eyes a little bit, get a new perspective on things.
And it's very possible.
And sometimes a laugh is just what you need to do that.
You know, a humor definitely opens the eyes. It refreshes the soul, so to speak. A good laugh could do wonders for health. And right now, Virtus Pro, pretty healthy, but on the defense for the first time in the set. 4-0 on Brightmarsh, now with an attempt to hold. 1:11, and it's gotten pretty close, but not far enough.
Good rockets going out here, and it's just kind of a quiet backline Drogos kind of day for Nino, not having to get too up in the faces, because that didn't work out so well for him last time he tried it. His ultimate's ready to go again, but he is far out of range of actually making it useful this time around. Only 50 seconds left. Ultimates for both sides if they want to commit here, but Mousesports and VP at the moment just kind of poking out at each other. Nobody actually confirming.
This is like a training exercise. It's like, okay, guys, we're going to go to war, but it's fake. And everyone,
let's go to war.
We're plastic Nerf guns. You
Whatever
know, it's
happened
like,
to that trailer, you know?
I know. Yeah, right. I think we saw it enough for the entirety of our lives that we had to take a little bit of a break. It is a great trailer, though. Nothing against that. Every day, all the time, anything starts to get a little stale.
I wish it was longer, but I assume that's just a sign of a good trailer.
It is.
Or any sort of good content.
You want more, right?
You want more of it. Now Alex gets away with the Rune of Travel. Here comes the Hyper Beam, but Sheepa's around the corner. He's still in contest range. It doesn't save his life for much longer, though.
What a
Mousesports go up 2-0.
I mean, I don't know if everyone else is having this feeling, but this feels so weird. It's like non-confrontational. I feel like this game is passive-aggressive between these two teams. You know, no one's really hard committing. No one's like really stepping out of line.
Oh yeah, Hyper Beam there. You're really gonna do that? Okay. Well, I guess you can convert it.
I guess you can convert. Like no one cares. No one. I'm not seeing any counter. It's like they're both. I don't know.
It is a little bit weird. They do use the dome shield there.
Everyone's so polite.
Just one apiece. Oh yes, very good Hyper Beam. So
there,
the conversion is yours. I'll see you on the battlefield next round.
I poke, you poke. I poke, you poke.
4.
Never more, never less.
2.
I feel that a little bit. I feel it a little bit. It's a little bit, yeah. Passive, I guess, is the good word. It's not a bloodbath. It is the opposite of that.
You know, it's like, I'm not going to commit. I'm going to dismount at the safe spot. Like, finally, we see a right side. This is the most we've seen every single time. I mean, Nino has had just, like, the best day ever. And Alex finally getting in there into the back line. There's the Inflame, and this is what we're talking about. Andrew Doodle finds another one, and now Elvin Path is forced to Immortal. That might turn the tide, but I think Sephi Cloud's got to recharge soon, and he's certainly got a protection bubble. Now less than 3 seconds for the bad boy. Talus looking to trick and treat here. Can't quite find it both, though.
It's kind of blown up there, honestly. Alex took a lot more damage than I thought he was going to. Here's the Illusory Rift and the take-back attempt by Virtus Pro. The Dragon Punch coming up over the top. It's sure to land on an Aura, but Alex is there to trade out the kill. Peridot finds Sephi, and that's going to do it.
Nice stuff for them, too. To keep Alex alive in this process, he has the true power, so he can get back and touch the objective if anyone's standing on there. And if Virtus Pro want to capture, they certainly got to be standing on there. So it's going to be up to Surretz to try to outplay this as much as he can. CC Immunity does get the job done, but Ying doesn't have it.
Plenty of ultimates here for Mousesports, but time, that's really what they need. They got Alex in there to touch.
Oh.
Here comes the Enlightenment. It's just shielded out. Seismic Crash puts 2 in the corner there, but where is the follow-up? That's the question. Is this stabilization for VP despite the great try from Mousesports? They commit ultimates, but they're unable to get the kills at the end of the day.
Ninu was just, he's too effective on this Drogos. Alex has to kill Ninu. Otherwise,
they're full nightmare at the moment, though. 4 turrets, the Ying clones, Barrack running around, finally gets burned down. Alex finds the moment of greatness.
That was huge.
And the trades coming out, though, for VP just to keep things stabilized here. But this is happening. Another Dragon Punch is basically ready to go as well.
But Alex is also stayed alive this entire time. And I think for him, I think he should have saved it. He's going to, oh, never mind. I mean, it just buys him enough time. And he's not going to try to use it. He's just going to cancel it out. Just stay on that catwalk. I like the decision. And for me, it's like you're doing more damage just staying alive. Don't risk your life there. You know, you dying could be the thing that lets Alex off the hook.
I mean, he is charging his punch stupid fast. Already back to 72%. Doing a ton of damage there, but Doodle, he's having his moments for sure on Leon. Especially when it comes to actually putting pressure on this Drogos, who has done a good job at playing very passive and not really making any glaring missteps. Doodle is forcing his way into the battle to try and pick up this Drogos, the play that he knows he needs to make and the matchup that he knows he is there to counter.
And I guess what's interesting, too, about the way the passive nature of this game is startled me, it's that Elvin Path is a very aggressive style player, and he's also a very aggressive, like, personality when you think of him. He's loud. He has a lot to say. He's very commanding of the energy when he's in a room. And I think that when you look at his play on Fernando, it screams fire, flames, I'm here, fireballs all into the back line. But again, it feels they're tethered, and maybe this is them saying, guys, we need to slow it down. We need to play like a Na'Vi, like a Fnatic here. We need to be very, very clear, dotting our I's, crossing our T's, if we're going to contend for a world championship.
Well, almost every ultimate in the game is ready to rock here for Virtus Pro. They do feel like hitting the fire and the flames and put a little fire and brimstone in there. Elias, 1 minute remains on the timer for the round as well. If Mousesports are able to defend, though, they're going to grab the defensive point, and they're going to go up 3-1 here and be in a really good spot to stabilize this set at 1-1.
I love watching a good Drogos. Nina's a good one, and he's performed well. He hasn't been flashy, but he's been successful. Miss one Dragon Punch, hit one, cancel another. At the end of the day.
Kind of reminds me of like what Diggy had to do against Fnatic, right?
All
like
the time,
it's hard to style on Fnatic, but he just kind of sat in the back line and was just there all the time, doing what he needed to do.
Wow, but like it's a tale of inches. Truly, Ninu almost dead, but the Barra Charger just too much damage fall off.
Not for much longer.
Not for much longer.
I'm really curious actually, because I don't know where that where the change is going to be.
Right.
This could be a big change for Talus though. The all change is kind of whatever. I think most people at the top were able to operate around that sort of thing, but the fall-off curve potentially could be huge depending on the type of change and the range actually at which it starts to fall.
Yeah, I mean, effective damage, it's really just a toss-up, right? Because you're going to know, there's no way you can...
Oh, yeah, baby.
Oh, nice combustible fire spit. That's the push. It's almost impossible to replicate as a designer the exact range where in a professional communication PPL level setting, Talus is operating. You can watch, but you still don't know. So I think teams will tell us. I'm excited to try it out.
I think if he's already seen him play, I mean, those guys are definitely going to be more excited about it. He got a flashy new skin, too.
I mean, there's...
a new skin and a buff? I mean, what a patch.
For Vivian, for Ying, for Fernando, for Talus.
What is there, 8? 8 skins?
And for Inara. We're going to see all these skins, hopefully, if they're not banned.
I don't see why they would be.
Well, they're really flashy.
The only ones that were those like removed like cosmic mastery skins, because like the VFX like didn't obey the color rules of like a friendly or enemy, right? You know, like even the new Shadow Lord Mount Damba, that VFX will still be red or blue, right?
Yeah.
So I think as long as they do that, as long as they follow the rules.
Easier said than done.
I guess so.
Needed with a Dragon Punch, though, on an NTBs. That was much harder done than said, but it worked out. 39% now for Virtus Pro. Perdo on the right side just trying to hold down the Dark Room.
God, they really used everything, though. Look at that. I mean, 4 people at sub 10% ult charge. Coordinated strike. God, you'd hope they win the fight after that one, or else things would be looking real grim. Alex diving deep onto a Cassie who just rolls away.
And, you know, I like that he's going to the left side here, but he's got to watch out for Torvald. No Hyper Beam, so that's fine. Bulka is in trouble. There's an Enlightenment. Perdo just wants to kill the support. Oh, and nobody lets it happen. Andrew Doodle in the backline with a double kill as well. And Surratt says, I'll take my own way out, thank you. He's going to fall off the map. But there is a chance. 69%. There's no comeback mechanic. Elven Path may be able to touch, especially if he gets some pressure left side as well, but he's going straight up the middle. The wall is going to come up. Oh, no, did they get debated?
I think they did, man. That's why Nara can be so damn good on this map. That type of wall will buy you like 20 to 25% on the objective right then and there. It locks down the objective here in round number 3. And that was a pretty critical moment, I feel like, for Cassie. It really reminded me of watching Evil Eye in the game on Serpent Beach from yesterday, where there was a little bit of a moments of struggle for G2, but he was an assassin. He was not missing those shots. That was the type of situation where you pick up that kill for Cassie and you bring back that engagement for your team.
Wow. Nice try from Andrew Doodle, but even nicer outplay from Ninu to do a little mid-air
Those are hard to dodge.
To avoid the Enlightenment. As she rides back, the sign of Alpsycho. Get a dress and a Frostmare. Minute 40 now.
Everybody got to whip out the Dread Steeds again for these Halloween skins.
Absolutely. That's going to be a very,
That's from last year, though, right? That's not new.
It's not new. Yeah.
How did you buy that? I can't even remember how you go about.
It might have been the Trick or Treat. It might be the Trick or Treat. It might have been a package too. It might have been a bundle.
Yeah, it was probably a bundle.
Yeah.
I think most of the mounts were. OGs will be looking extra good on their horse from last year, and the Halloween ensemble only expanding here. But still, you got to give credit to Pumpkin.
You got to give credit.
The boy's holding up well.
He holds up. He holds up. I miss seeing Bomb King. I do. I do and I don't.
Pumpkin's such a rare skin, too, at this point.
Oh, man.
The next wave of 2018 Pumpkin's about to come through.
I mean,
will they re-release it
maybe
this year? Did they talk about that at all?
No. Here's the thing, though. Everyone who's here probably has that skin. And we've never seen it played, so is it banned?
It might be. You know what? It probably is because of that ult bug where it was just the whole match long.
That was so funny.
Producer did confirm the Pumpkin skin is actually banned in PPL play.
We get to see them, one with nipples, but we can't see the Pumpkin. Come on.
The Love King. I love that skin too, though, man. That's a really good one.
DJ. Yeah, you know what? It's actually a great skin as far as the effects.
Oh, man.
And the sound.
The R&B tune.
The R&B tune.
I mean, the pirate shanty during like Ghost, Dutchman Makoa, that stuff is, that's how you get my money.
Well, then you will absolutely, seems like Dredge is going to not only be a great champion to enter the realm, but a great skin candidate.
Can we have a full pirate team yet? Barrick, Makoa, Dredge. Anyone else?
Barrick, Makoa, Dredge. I
don't think anyone else has pirate stuff.
Those are all the great pirate ones. The Anchor, the Buccaneer-ish, kind of Barrick style. Buck could definitely have a pirate skin. I could see him with a little, eye patch, gold chain, or like whatever it is. Blunderbuss. I mean, basically.
Sure. We'll get there. I mean, Smite has like 9 pirate skins at this point. You can have a couple of different team you can have a viable SPL team comp on pirate skins.
And they do the Rave one now too. They all have just enough for a team comp of that. So I love it. Mousesports and Virtus Pro tying this up, and it's been an interesting day between these two teams. Virtus Pro took a very convincing 4-0, and Mousesports responded here on Jaguar Falls to what you're seeing now in a tight game where they've actually led in this last round. captured multiple objectives and really gotten under Virtus Pro's skin, and it just hasn't been the same type of dynamic as we saw in Game 1.
The Marabu's 3 now online for Ninu's Drogos, and especially at this point, I'd like to see him, even if it's not an R, take the safest Dragon Punch possible and stay alive just to keep cranking out damage, because you're going to be getting them very, very frequently, and just landing them and staying alive will probably have just as much as value, if not more, of killing your highest priority target.
This looks like it's going to be a good opportunity for Ninu to show his stuff, but it's getting slower and lower, and I got to say, props to Alex for holding down this corner, man. He has really pressured out Ninu well, and it's not the type of champion you'd say is going to easily get Drogos off this catwalk. I mean, it's a Talus for crying out loud, but they've got it covered with Andrew Doodle on the front zone, 30%. And now counting, can Ninu turn this around? He finds at least the kill, but the Pyre Strike ends up stunning him.
There it is. The Dome Shield goes down. Was he even? He must have been low HP or something. I can't imagine Sheepa's going to be easily spooked into a terrible ultimate like that, so it probably had to have served the purpose of getting him back to full HP. Alex committing low, but he will stay alive.
ATB's trying to get back on the objective. Here is where you want to punch. Do you throw the Seismic Crash out, try to stun somebody, and be your last effort?
Elvin.
I don't think so. Septic Cloud by himself. Andrew Doodle, can he save the day? He's got the Enlightenment. And the shield comes up. Talk to the hand.
They're outplaying it.
99%. Going to turn that into 100. And Virtus Pro 2-0 now against Mousesports.
That was actually really sick from BP. Sheepa scoots around the corner, gets out of the way. Elvin with just the up-down on the shield is a lot of style points in my book. That was really sick from him.
Clean. And Virtus Pro now looking a little bit more like they were. That point fight was very convincing, and it was no combat mechanic involved in all of these. So it was a very even game. Nobody could push, and eventually Jaguar Falls went the way of VP.
Big performance there from Ninu. A lot of damage from Perdo as well. You got to give credit to Alex. I think he operated very well on the Talus. Him and Doodle, 12 and 5, 15 and 7. I mean, damn good performances there.
Yeah.
Maybe just the composition starting to weigh heavy on Inara there. A lot of Dragon Punches into NTP's face. 2 and 10, 2 and 9 for the front line. Not much better for VP's front line, though. 2 and 11, 4 and 6.
Literally,
I mean, it was a close game.
Literally nothing wrong. Literally, you're 3-3. You won the point fight before. You didn't push. Okay, how can we push? Who do we need to pick off? And we didn't win that point fight at the end, but that was maybe just a bad play, right? I mean, there were just mistakes made and things capitalized on, and it's literally just a matter of playing. That's the type of game that I think you should like losing, because you know that those are the things you can easily work on, and it's also the type of game that you should really enjoy winning, because it means that today the little things went your way, and today you did execute, and that is a good sign for a sign of growth for a squad like Virtus Pro.
I mean, Ninu there, he's put on the moves. He converts a payload with a Fire Spit. The ultimate move on a Drogos is to Fire Spit somebody and then know exactly where they're going to be, hit your next rocket on that. He does that as well, so he's looking dialed in on that champion.
Would it ever be possible to, like, Willow, like, flutters up, you get that random combustible knockup, she goes up, and then you, like, Dragon Punch, right? You, like, flick a rocket, so you flick a rocket up, and as she's falling, Dragon Punch, and somehow catch her before she lands.
That's a lot. That is a lot. That's a whole kit just for one little fairy.
Yeah. Would she be
I
dead?
don't know. We saw her get stuffed the other day. Remember, like, the Inara wall went up. We saw, like, the silhouette of her starting to flutter right as a Fire Spit exploded above her, and she was like, huh! And then she gets spiked back down.
With an Ashe, right? She flutters up. Ashe is underneath her, knocks her up Kinetic Burst, Percussion 5, and then Drogo's underneath her, just like, behold the Dragon's Fury.
Why?
It's going to be hilarious. He just, like, falls into a one-hit KO.
Yeah, I guess.
That would be sick.
Oh, man.
I would love to see that. If somebody could actually do that, I would be so down to see it.
Inside the beautiful mind.
Also, we never really see these style plays where someone, or it could be tactical. Hear me out.
Okay.
Shooting it in the air. In Paladins, those drops, if they actually will fall down at a certain point, like a pip shot or something like that. At a 99, dude, you just like boom, 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 right?
Oh,
and then you're fighting, and no one's like thinking about it.
Remember we were doing that to test fall off with Makoa?
Wouldn't that be crazy? Or like you shoot your Evil Mojo like all the way up.
Dude, didn't somebody do that with an Evil Mojo?
Fox did. He showed us, and it was like a clip. Do you remember that? It was really, really
and you
cool.
just hear deep in the background, like the buck, 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 and up in the sky. Oh, man.
That is something that is like, no one has really ever done, but like can be done.
Yeah,
so that's
last did that with Azaria ult. I'll never forget that.
Really?
There's a clip of him just yeeting one up into the air, and then it's actually relevant in the team fight. Like 20 seconds later.
Holy
it's
crap.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, he's had a couple of Zarya clips that have gone pretty viral here.
He's a nut, man.
Leon, Kinessa, Evie. Wow, look at this. The all-female with a little bit of an interesting...
She's still a female.
Sure.
She's a Goyle fairy.
She's a girl fairy. You could say that. But Virtus Pro, definitely...
a lot of babes here.
She's a fairy. I don't know if she says she's a girl fairy. I haven't read her lore. She could be like, I'm a fairy. We don't do it that way. We're fairies.
We produce via blooming flowers. And it smells great, I bet. You know, 70% female lobby here. This is great to know. Barrick, the ladies' man himself, Damba. I wonder how old Maldamba is.
Probably
hard to get a read on him.
Probably, yeah, it is hard. He'd be like a teenager.
He looks a little withered. I don't know. He doesn't. He's seasoned.
He does seem seasoned. My guess is around 50s, 60s, which is a fine age with that.
He's not like insanely old. I don't think Maldamba's like any type of immortal guy either.
No. No, he reminds.
Just a badass witch doctor.
He does. He does remind me of that. Prudo here on the death and taxes, and Nina running the wormhole. For the Eevee, this is a map you would see her. We are seeing her on a champion, on a player that we actually have not seen an Eevee performance from, I want to say.
I don't think so.
In the BPL. So it's Eevee debut here.
Not a lot of guys playing the Eevee this time around. I'm always down to see it. Mousesports get an R down on the objective, and Cephacloud from across the way picks up Perdo for first blood. Not used to seeing that one there. Elven Path down on the objective, gets body blocked, stunned.
That was
and
nice.
The Solar Blessing not quite there in time.
I mean, Bees showed up right when he was not hoping. Like, he was not even aware that Bees was going to be there, and it was a beautiful kind of...
He, like, wrapped all the way around, because I
did.
saw Bees, like, leave, and then he was there again all of a sudden.
And a great use of the Inara. I mean, this is right at home for NT Bees.
Great
Path is going to try to get there, and it is not...
Dude, commit.
I mean,
finish it.
Yeah,
what
what's
are you
going
doing
on here? I don't know, but they finally find him. Perdo able to stay alive, too, so Andrew Doodle has a lot of work to do. Sheepa forces him down off of the catwalk, and Alex on the Kinessa again trying to make this work, but against the Eevee, it's easier said than done.
It feels like they could have got that lockdown before overtime there. If he just, like, it would have cost him his life, sure, but that's kind of what you're there to do.
Andrew Doodle and this combination of, I think, the way that Alex is still finding damage, NT Beast is holding things down, Cephacloud picking up big kills, and Bolka just supporting and working with this lineup. It's interesting to see, but Mousesports with another objective capture here, leading Virtus Pro.
You can really tell Alex is comfortable on Kinessa on this map. I mean, he is all up in the grill of Virtus Pro. He is on their side of the map, playing past half court. That's not something you do unless you're knowing how to navigate this map. Again, I mean, I think I've seen nothing but his name in the kill feed, basically, at this point.
It's interesting, you know, we have to associate Alex with Kinessa because he's just chosen to play it so many times. And, I mean, rarely have we seen a team stick to a champion so frequently that is not in the, I think, stereotypical meta of where you would see them every map, no matter what, like a Leon, like a Cassie. But you can see why.
Damn, bro.
Alex finishes one off. That Sheepa continues the push. Nino's doing his best to stop this, but it's a hard matchup for both of them, depending on who hits the shots first.
Yeah, it's really what it comes down to. Alex he's just not afraid to take the matchup, and that's what's making it a fair fight for him at this point. I mean, he knows what he wants at the moment. He's just so aware of Ninu, and though Ninu's not exactly accomplishing his goal until his third try there, you know, he's still preventing Alex from killing everyone because he's constantly having to check that angle.
It's just so hard to kill Maldamba. It's always just so hard to kill a good Maldamba. It's something, so there's always just long enough. Someone's always showing up. Bulk is doing a good job. And so you got to give credit where credit's due, but man, what a cool skin. Actually running the Golden Snake and the Shadow Lord body.
Swag.
Swagging out on him.
I think this is the right move. I mean, I like Shadow Lord a lot, but it's like
He's
a little
bit mistake.
Too much on that web. It's like this rhino snake. I don't know, the bladed snake head is it's a bit too much for me. It looks like a big nose. And I think, you know, it's good synergy here.
It's good synergy.
I miss talking about my customizations, man. They used to be a big part of my game.
Well, you know what? I think it's for the better.
Absolutely is.
Look at what we got today. I mean, I think it's all for sure for the better. But yeah, it was a glorious time. Ninu
This
here.
is an OG combination here. The divination orange with the
Look at that.
I don't know, the booger green weapon. I
booger
can't remember what it's
green.
called.
The goosebump green.
I don't think that's the official name.
The booger green. It is it's an old school weapon, that's for sure. Eevee has a lot of old school weapons, and if you ever in Paladins want to have a fun time, go to the store and actually try to just see what you don't own, because there are a couple of really weapons and things that you just like, they came in, they left, you never thought about them. It's the first time you're seeing them in a year. You're like, oh my god, she has that option. It's actually very, very funny. A lot of relics.
Like the mixed berry Kinessa
yes,
rifle.
all the random Kinessa rifles, all those things. Eevee has a lot. That's what I was saying. Eevee has a lot of staffs, ice staffs.
I think Barrack still has like this Inflame like blunderbuss with like some super old card art on it. That might be like, I think it actually might be Fernando's brand card art now. Might have been recycled over to there, but
really
some serious relics going on here. 1-1
relics of the realm.
VP up 2-0 in the set. This has always been a pretty solid map for Mousesports. I want to look at the KDs though. I want to see how many Alex was able to put in the grave there. 7-1 after the first round. On his comfort pick.
That's right, my man. Nice fade flight up into the air as well. Over in the back line though, Ninu and Alex getting all involved, and Ninu comes out on top there. Andrew Doodle able to find Ninu, but he forces the Cassie away. Oh, and the Flutter cooldown used. Sheepa doesn't get where he wants to be. He wanted to finish off Bolka. It was a great Dread Serpent, and again, we talk about how hard it is to kill Maldampas, but Sheepa just says, let me go ahead and flick the wrist there with the Fey Flight, and the Flutter almost finds the full DSI, but almost is not even close here. Virtus Pro about to be 100-0.
Yeah, I mean, VP were hitting the gas pedal that whole time. It just took them so long, and B's never left the objective. He literally just 100-0'd them during all the ruckus.
No, and not a ruckus to be seen in the draft either. I mean, that's a special situation. You know, this is where, honestly, there was a meta where we would see the Grovers here quite a bit more, and obviously Grover not, I think, available to be picked yet, but man, I mean, that would be a great thing to have, to give just Ninu a little bit of room to deal with the Alex, you know? It's just the ability to still have the healing, but range pressure is what he's missing.
Indeedy dandy. Playing this this angle well, but they have to be aware of Alex. I mean, he's going to be able to flush this balcony fairly effectively. Mousesports are going to want to bring this one back. They got to find a way to break the high ground here, and obviously Alex can navigate it fairly effectively, but they got to make the space for it. Now might be the time. With Ninu dead, if Alex can get roosted here, the payload's just a little bit further back from where I think they really want it to be when they get that magical pick, but you can see Alex starting to work his way over to the back corner, clearing it out as well. He knows that's the spot he has to get. You can see him scoping in, and he does take down Sheepa, so now the roost is his.
And, you know, Ash trying to find something, but she hasn't found much here, has she? It's been a really rough round, and that's the second Solar Blessing we've seen just be right off the mark. Andrew Doodle getting the better end of the Eevee time and time again, and most of the damage onto the Inara comes from the support. But a beautiful Dread Serpent from Bolka. I think this is, yeah, exactly.
Let's go, baby. She just gets obliterated the second it ends.
You flutter up, you get your 20% damage reduction, you stay in the beam, you're just fighting.
Oh no, and just a little bit too late. Surrett's almost had the Solar Blessing coming off, but that was going to be a far-fetched fight to stabilize, kind of no matter what. Cephacloud picks one up there, finds Sheepa as well.
Man.
That Dome Shield was very, very good. I have to say, the gas pedal, that's what we were missing on that Brightmarsh game from Mousesports, where at least they tried. I think overall, that attempt there, they popped a lot of stuff. Virtus Pro, that is, but like they still failed. Like the Enflame was used, the Fey Flight was used, and Sheepa, it was funny, he didn't land a single shot. He was hitting shields or missing that entire time. So if he could be more effective there, it's not exactly a traditional champion for him.
Yeah.
Perdo, despite being, I think, the most comfortable here on Virtus Pro with Leon, is sitting at 1-5. Sheepa and Ninu, never seen either of those guys play either of those champions, and they're both even.
Yeah, it's a very odd little story that's been telling. And, you know, Cephacloud is a big part of it. He's been doing a great job controlling this high ground. It's going to be ult for ult here. Because you see Cloud having to just try to buy time, and he realizes that I'm just dead before I can even get close to the Dome Shield. And this is the old Elven Path strat. He would sit on Terminus, go to Serpent Beach, let the rest of his teammates die, and he get 80% of the capture objective, rewipe, try to do it again, and he's letting Mousesports play his exact same strategy against him.
So that's the same little execution for Virtus Pro, but they cut it off a little bit earlier. They don't chase down everyone in the back line. They killed a couple people up here on the high ground, and then they turned onto the objective to make sure Bees wasn't able to just go 99-0 while they were busy fighting. With the comeback mechanic, I think that's undoubtedly the smarter play here. And that wall a little bit too short. Bees walled himself out from the objective and was unable to use it as kind of a shield. Cloud gets put right back up on the ledge from whence he came. That was actually perfect.
Yeah, and he really, really tried to put the Dome Shield down. And look at this. I mean, if he had a Dome Shield and Andrew Doodle was able to wiggle around, they still had Bulk alive. That definitely could have been a close stabilization. It would not have been over. But Virtus Pro, with the comeback mechanic, they take this one, and now it's 3-2. They're able to push. Are they going to do it again?
Well, they've got good ults here. I love Ashel for just, like, starting a fight. When you need to just get in there, you need something just to break the ice. That's, like, the perfect ultimate for it. Mousesports have nothing besides that Cassie disengage that's going to be able to move this Ashe away. And, you know, you put it in a good spot, get your back against the wall in a place you can't be moved. I think VP will be in a great spot, especially if Ninu's bringing home double kills.
Fluttered and complete.
How are Inara and Kinessa close enough to be double killed? That's my question. For an Eevee in one round, one go, to get both.
I don't know. It was Cassie, though.
She is a witch.
Yeah. I don't know, man. At this point, Surets may not even need to use the Inflame. It was a very interesting capture, and the seismic crash decision by NTBs feels like, wow, a little odd. It did, from our perspective, look like this might have just been a for sure push anyways from Virtus Pro without ultimates needed, and that ended up being the case. Mousesports trying to stabilize, but they lose one of their big play-making ability ults as a result. Efficient! Oh!
Efficiency, baby.
That was huge.
I'm trolling. That was a Damba, not an Inara.
Yeah. Kinessa, Damba.
That's how we did it.
And then Inara, Cassie died next to each other as well.
I've got questions. The replay guys got answers.
That was so awesome. You know, and Alex actually...
Anthony's carrying me today.
Alex actually backs up.
Get you baited.
Into the wall. And I can do this all the time. There's some maps, the Ascension Peak door that leads down from the staircase and then goes up the next staircase. It's like a little, like, cove that you start heading up to the upper ground. I try to back up through that all the time, and I just always hit the side. And I'm like, oh, wait, I got to turn around or readjust myself. And Alex does it, but in the Ice Storm. And so it gives Ninu another shot at him, and that's what cleans up the kill. Ninu making some big plays here on the Eevee. It has not paid off much, but it might pay off here with the Inflame.
He's hitting the gas pedal here. He's hitting for over 1,000 with Furia ult. That last shot's going to confirm it there. Beautiful blink back. Now it's time for the Ice Storm. Efficiency. There's the Inara and the Kinessa. He manages to get it done there. 13 streak for Ninu on his Eevee debut. Looking very, very good.
But look at this, man. Virtus Pro are wiped. They are literally all wiped. And he's just trying to make sure that he can dismount some people. He literally leaves the second one more was about to arrive. And now he is in trouble. He's on the ice block.
Good
He
heal.
is very, very susceptible right now. Gets a shot, does it. Andrew Doodle a little bit. Purdo cleans it up. And that might have been it.
That's
Virtus
huge.
Pro have Elven Path now on the objective and getting healed here as well.
I mean, a lot of little mistakes there, but a lot of big moments, I think, from Virtus Pro to bring that back. The little heal from Furia was only 400, but enough to get Eevee out of there. Perdo making the counter rotation in to actually get those picks. 96% to 69. Bees makes it close to the objective again, but he burns his Earthen Guard so early, Evan. He's going to have to run to the objective with nothing. No cooldowns available, and he falls like a wet paper towel.
Well, this is surprising. I mean, Mousesports look good in a lot of different ways, and Virtus Pro seem to find their match, but it doesn't matter. It's a 3-0. It's almost like the reverse of what happened to Fnatic. They were hard-fought games. They were close. They were tight. But Mousesports 0-3 and get swept by Virtus Pro. After Virtus Pro, get swept by Na'Vi.
Yeah, solid overall, though. I think VP making those strides. we go in today thinking that VP are going to be above Mouse, but 3-0 above Mouse, I don't think anyone quite thought that.
And I don't think anyone, even when you look at it, it won't tell the story. And that's, to me, a testament to Mouse. It's a testament to maybe the fact that Virtus.pro still has a while to go before it is Fnatic, Na'Vi, NIP level, but it also does show, I think, that Mousesports are not out of it, especially if Alex performs. And he started performing. I mean, the Talus on Jaguar Falls was very successful. This Kinessa looked better than a lot of the Kinessas he's brought to Stone Keeps and Ascension Peaks over the past. So maybe if it's just the right champions for the right map, we're going to see Alex start to really shine here in the PPL.
I mean, he and Doodle definitely on that Jaguar Falls game as well. I mean, they were going off. They had some incredible slash lines there. That one was a really, really close, hard-fought game there. But at the end of the day, VP just looking a little bit better, a little bit more coordinated, and that goes back to, again, Perdo, Sheepa, Elvin, these guys have been around the block together. They've been around several blocks together, maybe even the whole neighborhood.
You know, Perdo going 1-5 was odd, but Ninu really carries, I think, that game. It has an excellent EV performance, and that's why, as you head to the standings, you'll see that Virtus.pro have now climbed up in terms of their win column, and will move 1-4 as Mousesports are now 0-4. Still have a game in hand, though. They have not played 5 yet, which Virtus.pro have. Fnatic and NIP tied for second here. Isn't that interesting? Those are going to be some matchups heading later on in these upcoming weeks. And, of course, tomorrow we'll have our day in North America again. Envy Renegades taking on Splice in a doubleheader that you do not want to miss.
Absolutely not. I mean, I'm really excited for that Spider-Man.
I'm expliced.
I'm expliced for the Splice Renegade set there. I think that's going to be really the one to watch tomorrow.
Absolutely. Even the Envy, because if they did that to G2, and Envy had a very odd day yesterday where against SK they were looking like vulnerable.
That's very true.
So I'm like, Splice, there is a moment here that you might be able to seize. And, of course, if you want to seize the moment right now, highresexpo.com. Go get your tickets and make sure you can join us at the biggest show in town. Will be the Bells of the Ball alongside the players, and I'm able to give a great event, some handshakes, chat it up.
Kiss some babies.
Kiss some babies. Tons of free waves. High-res after party also coming to you. hrxafterparty.eventbrite.com. $50. It's really not that much when you consider how much you get. It's a great time. It will be a night to remember. And hopefully one.
Gormiser's already headed to the round table there, baby. It's time for Gather Round after this. Let's wrap it up and get over there.
Let's go. That's it, guys. Post-game show coming up in just a bit. We'll see you for some Gather Round after this.
Hello and welcome to the post-game Gather Round here at the round table. My name is Gormiser, and joining me is Rain Day and Pretty Hair as we go over what was a really quick day.
Super fast. Virtus.pro's doubleheader was, as we kind of expected, 3 O's for them and against them. And I think Na'Vi show that they're still top dog. But, you know, VP make me ask a few questions about them, honestly.
That's actually one of the things that I had wanted to talk about, and I'm kind of wondering about your opinion on this, was just the difference in the skill between the teams, right? We obviously have 5 teams overall, but just looking at the difference between Na'Vi and VP and then VP and Mouse, which gap between those 3 teams do you think is closer?
Probably still Mouse and VP. I think that was a really good game on Frog Isle they put up against Na'Vi.
Yeah.
But you see that sometimes, right, where you have that one map. Maybe it's like kind of like Armada was on Brightmarsh. Like that was just like their map that they could play, and that's a good starting point. I mean, that's the building block. You just kind of go from there if you're VP.
Yeah, I definitely think that this made me see that the gap was closer for Mousesports and VP than it was for VP and Na'Vi right now. And maybe that just speaks volumes to where Na'Vi are at. I mean, those 3 O's looked really clinical, and where we have NIP, Fnatic, close moments, right? And VP as well, maybe in that mix. It just feels like no one is in the league of Na'Vi. Yeah,
Na'Vi was just dominating. Specifically for today, I think in the past we've seen them have a couple of shakier rounds overall, but like this just looked like a walk through the park. Phoenix specifically on the Ruckus just swept through people, and it was something I had mentioned at the beginning. I didn't think it was going to be anywhere near as prominent as it was.
Well, I mean, I hate to say this, but I was very thinking that it was going to be as prominent, even from the post-game show, because Sheepa plays a lot of Ruckus and has played. Phoenix made his debut, like, big moment with, like, a quadra kill on Splitstone Quarry with Ruckus. And he's somebody that I actually associate that with as one of his base champions. But then his pool flexed out so much, he's become so much more than that. I mean, it's been a rise for him as far as like a successful player that's been able to transition into triple DPS and stuff. But to me, it feels like that's his home, and he always gives great performances for us.
Yeah, he comes back finally and has that moment. I like what I saw from VP, though, in terms of their champion pool starting to flex out, especially in that last game. You see Ninu on Eva and Sheepa on Willow as well, and they both like did very well.
Yeah.
I like the flex that they were able to do, but at the end of the day, Na'Vi still find a 3-0 and a relatively quick 3-0. Again, Virtus Pro look, I mean, maybe like they could bite back eventually, but there just wasn't a whole lot to do, especially when they got these good drafts. Virtus Pro looked so solid. I thought this was actually going to be a much longer set because of this first game.
Same.
And it all flopped, and I think a lot of it was just the way that Na'Vi were able to control them, even in scenarios where they shouldn't be winning.
Yeah, I mean, and Makoa was a factor that wasn't a factor in any other games. He was banned out, and I think, you know, Europeans in Paladins know how to handle Makoa, and they know how deadly it is, so that might have been a factor that gave Elven Path a little bit more wiggle room. But Mutu on this Androxus, super high execution. It reminded me of the Eevee in Ninu's pick. It's like, if Ninu doesn't get those double kills and those min-max moments where he ice storms, finds Alex when he's trying to get back into base, it's a totally different draft. And if Mutu doesn't get these double, triple kills on the Andro, it's a totally different draft, but you can expect it from them.
It's such a deflating loss here on Stone Keep as well. Like it's tougher even on their map pick in game number 3 to even try and, you know, put up a fight at that point, because they just got absolutely crushed in game 2 on Brightmarsh.
And that kind of felt like almost the same as yesterday when I saw SK picking Fish Market, and I'm like, G2 don't mind Fish Market. Like, I feel like this is a really weird place to try and take the set. Stone Keep is like, people are like trying to ban that from Na'Vi at this point because of how good they've gotten there. Even at one point when we were talking during the last LAN, I was mentioning it to the Burrito Boys, and it's just like, what's a map that you're worried about? And they're like, well, we like going to Stone Keep, but we also know that Fnatic and Na'Vi like going to Stone Keep. So it's a risk to, I think, put yourself on that line. I feel like that was a chopping block, but you had actually gotten to mention Ninu and his performance, and I was watching off and on because it felt like Virtus Pro were very much in control, but one of the ones that caught my eye was actually his Drogos towards the tail end of it. Like, it just looked real solid.
Yeah, his Drogos, his blasters are good. We haven't seen the Bomb King tape as much, but I mean, blaster play is one of those things that when you have it, you have it. When you don't, you don't. Ninu's got it. He doesn't have it in that way where, wow, he's a special blaster. Like maybe we've seen Fish, Bugs, you know, we've seen for Random Noob at times and whenever he's gotten it. But I think he did well, and that's what you are asking for. Combustible Drogos isn't necessarily like the Fusillade where I'm literally direct impacting, I'm taking any fight. It's like serve the purpose of displacement.
And that kind of maybe bleeds into like that. Maybe he might never have that reputation because like Fish and Random, they were like making their names when that was their play, right? They had to go hard. Evil Eye had to like go in there and get hard with the Fusillade. And now it's like, that's just combustible. You just kind of sit back and you stay alive and you do a ton of damage and get off, you know, a million dragon punches every single game.
Yeah.
It was a kind of a roller coaster, I think, at the end of the day. Like, there was a lot of really good stuff from Virtus Pro, and there was quite a bit of good stuff from Mouse as well. But I personally felt deflated watching the Serpent Beach game, right? Where it's just like, you start feeling really good. You're like, all right, Mouse, like you're holding on. It might not be a 5-game set. It might just go to 4, but like, at least you're in there. And then it's just watching it slip away. And like, I can't imagine being in that kind of space. Like, what was it like? Even just casting that game and watching it pretty much just fall down the gutter.
That set had a really weird like energy to me because it felt that it was close, but it also felt like Virtus Pro played totally differently. It felt like there was this little like agreement to do this silent shuffle of, I'm not going to push too hard, you don't push too hard. Almost like, you know, in an environment where you're like, I won't call you out, you don't call me out. We both kind of get away with this. And it felt like they were like, who wins the poke, who kind of comes out on top, that's what we're okay with. It didn't really feel like anyone was like, this is for anything important. This is for the championship. I didn't feel that in that set.
Yeah, maybe they were a little bit nervous, right?
Might have been.
This is like someone's getting a win here today. No one wants to be that, you know, 0-5 team at the end of today. So perhaps nerves coming through for both those squads.
Overall, it was, like I said, kind of a quick day. I don't think there's as much to really delve into. Na'Vi still looking dominant. Yeah. Mouse still looking like they need improvement, although I will say I think today was definitely bigger. Is there any like big final thoughts you have for today or anything interesting going into tomorrow?
I think overall, I'm excited for the continued progression of VP playing, not only different champions, but that's a 3 DPS comp that they played on Serpent Beach. So it's not exactly something standard from them. And I think stubbornness was definitely a theme of back when NIP was having Peardo and Sheepa. So now that they are on a new team, I think stubbornness we've often associated with Elvenpath throughout his career. And so the willingness to branch out and show that they can do a lot of different things is a really good sign for VP.
And I'm curious to see how Mousesports take this one on the chin. It's unfortunate, but to me, sometimes it is better to just fully get your butt whooped because, rather than getting close and being like, oh, we're kind of there, it's like that may just be some gauze over the actual true picture, which is the fact that you're not there. You may need a reshuffling. You may need to do something drastic next week. The thing I would hate to see is this gives Mousesports like a hope of like, yeah, keep playing Kinessa, Alex, it'll get better. Keep doing this this way, and it'll get better. But that's actually not what would make it. It might be something more drastic that will actually kick them into gear. They may just not know it because it was kind of close against First Pro.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm excited, I think, to see more Mouse than anything, just because I feel like I latch on to the underdog the most because I was always watching Splice. But it is that area where it's just like, I want these guys to feel better. Because, again, it's a culmination of really good players that we've seen in the past, but it's just not quite clicking. Similar to what I see with SK, where it's just like, there's something off. And whether it's a draft, whether it's the play style, whether they're just not working well together, it's hard to lock down. That's kind of where good coaches come in. The reason like Suckile is going to be so prominent for G2 is because if there's an issue, he's going to just come in and tell them this is what's wrong. So I'm wondering if they're going to have something that kind of pushes them for that, or if they're going to be locked away. But hey, it was a quick day.
It was.
And we're just going to go ahead and I guess take a relax. We have one more day for this week in the PPL. And it's going to be North America once again. You can see it on the side there. Splice doubleheader. I could not be happier. I think they actually have a decent chance of going to 5 in both of these games. I think they might be able to come out with some more wins too.
Awesome. Can't wait to do it, man. You're going to be casting. You got to cast both of those games because you're like the giddy Splice man, so we got to do it.
I'm excited to see that. I'm hoping they do well, but at the same time, I really want to see like a lot of diversity. I think that's the league right now.
Oh, yeah.
Most of these teams are all over the place. But hey, guys, thank you all for tuning in today, and we'll see you tomorrow.